Hello and welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where on today's episode we're going to talk about how to make really good parenting decisions.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, and today I'm going to be talking about how to make really good, sound parenting decisions. Now, as I say that, some may be thinking, well, who's to say I don't make them already? And the thought of this is, in my coaching business, one of the quotes I use very often is, when emotions are high, intelligence is low. So let's give a quick example of that. You know, have you ever made a really good decision during an argument, or have you ever made a really bad decision and said something that you felt in the moment but wasn't true over time and really hurt somebody, lost trust? Maybe somebody lost your trust because of something they said. And in those moments, right, those argumentative moments, emotions are really high. And if you haven't experienced it, which I think if you're a parent listening to this, you've experienced that. Otherwise, you've just lived an incredibly dull life. I was thinking blessed life, but I don't think it's a blessed life if you've never had any conflict, because then you've never had any growth. So just giving that one simple example without going further into more examples, and you guys know this about me, I don't know jack about parenting. Like, this is the thing. I don't know anything, but I like to think I know a little bit of something about life, or at least my life experiences, and like to share them with you. So as I am going to give you a solid reason or way that you can make better sound decisions, because last week's episode is, hey, do I send my kid to school or not to school? How do I make that choice? And what I'm finding, as every single day since then, people having to make decisions are having to do them in high emotional states, right? We're having groups of parents and administrators and superintendents of the school board get together, and they're getting information from 500 to 5,000, maybe 50,000 different ways. As in the county I live in, we have a little over 100,000 students that they're trying to make decisions for. And they're getting emotional responses from parents that don't have enough information. And then people are complaining that they're not coming up with a good enough plan. You can't satisfy the parents of 100,000 plus students. And one plan isn't going to satisfy all of those needs. But they're going to do the best they can. But while people are complaining about and frustrated, I want to say they're complaining, right? They have real concerns. Their children, do we send them back to school and put them in harm's way? Do we keep them home, and are they getting enough education that way? I'm not really a teacher. Should I give them back, even though there's a risk to give them back to the school and risk them contacting a fatal disease in many ways, or fatal virus? And what do those safety precautions look like? All these questions are happening, and they're all highly emotional, because we're making this decision for the most precious thing that we have in our lives, and those are in my case, little kids. And some people, right? I can imagine having high school age kids right now, because they think they're invincible and they're going to do what their friends do. They're easily influenced, and are they really going to follow all the protocols? as soon as they leave that door, you hope you've instilled enough into them that they make good decisions. But ultimately, we all have to live our lives and make our own mistakes and hopefully learn from those mistakes. So what is my suggestion to you parents? Find the most sound people that you have in your life. And if you don't have any of those people, maybe you need to just make this decision on your own. Even if you are not one of those people that someone's reaching out to, you need to trust something in this world. And if nothing else, if you don't have faith, if you don't have friends, if you think you're the only one, that single mom who works her butt off and feels like the world is coming down on her, you do have something, and it's called intuition, and it's called a gut. Clear out the noise. Turn off the news. Stop reading every post on Facebook. And what is listen to me, this is your decision. And this is for everything. This isn't like a COVID-19 scenario. This isn't like, hey, we're going through a little bit of stuff right now. Block out the noise and say to yourself, as a responsible parent, what is best for me and my family based on what I desire in this world for my children. And last week I told you I'm not going to influence anybody, but I don't think this is going to influence anybody anyway, so I'm going to share with you my thoughts. I want my child to grow up in a world where they are confident in their decisions. And in order to be confident, we need to lack or push through. Listen to this. Not even lack. Let's use the word push through fear. Because we all have fears. Like I'm no different than any other parent who have thought these things. But am I going to let fear control me? And if I let fear control me because I have little ones that are watching every move I make, fear in this life will control them. And fear, the quote that's coming to me is, fear is the killer of dreams. And I want my kids to achieve so much in this world. My goal is for them to, my number one goal is for them to have the respect. Is for me to have the respect of my adult children. And number two, one of the things I always say is, I want them to be productive members of society. And the only way you produce things is if you have confidence. Otherwise, you become that consumer, right? We consume the junk on the television. Yes, this is my opinion. We consume other stuff, and we're not free thinkers. So although I have fear around, and it's not even COVID-19, to be honest with you, sending my kids back to school, my fear is what other people have instilled in their children, that through osmosis will get pushed into my son, and he'll come home and say, well, mommy, daddy, so-and-so is saying this, and so-and-so isn't saying that. So-and-so isn't old enough to think that way for themselves. So-and-so is getting that from their parents, who live in fear, who live in hatred, who live in whatever it is that is going to put seeds that I did not plant into my children, but yet somebody else is planting those seeds in society, right? Not free thinkers, society, the MUBA. You guys have never heard me say that. It's the herd mentality. Do what other people are doing just because they're doing it. I hope I'm raising a child that, because we've had enough discussions about his choice, his decisions. And I say his, I have two boys, but pretty much I have an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old. Even though he's making his own decisions, he's not making these types of decisions. He's not being influenced by outside forces right now. That he is strong enough to say, that's not the right choice for me. And as I keep telling him, as we're leaning towards sending him back to school, if that is an option, Mom and dad wouldn't put you in any harm's way if we truly believe there was harm to put you there. Now, some of you listening to this, feel free to send comments, email me, do what you need to do. You have your opinion. I shared this with somebody the other day. The biggest challenge I have in this whole scenario, whether it be Facebook, the news, or having a discussion with a friend, is I 100% ultimately respect the decisions of every individual as that being the best decision for them and their family. And the biggest frustration I have in this is as I share that I don't live in fear. Around this COVID-19 scenario. I don't live in fear around some of the other challenges that are going on in this country. The people who do get upset with me because I'm grounded enough to not let outside forces control me and my emotions. And to be honest, I drown a lot of them out. So in order for you to make sound, grounded decisions for yourself, turn off the television, turn off the Facebook, turn off the social media, and turn on your own intuition and do what's best for you and your family. And if it's not along the lines of what everybody else is doing, do yourself a favor and thank yourself for having the guts to listen to your own guts. We'll see you in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.